Cheeseburger Afternoon, written by Betty Stonewell, narrated by Tall Tales and Bedtime Stories. Rating is teen and up audiences. No archive warnings apply. Category is Gen. Fandom is supernatural. Relationship, Dean Winchester and unnamed dog. Characters, Dean Winchester, unnamed dog. Additional tags, fluff, humor, Dean Winchester in heaven, Dean Winchester loves burgers, soft Dean Winchester, Dean Winchester deals with a dog, POV Dean Winchester. Summary. Dean can't find any peace. Even in heaven, puppy eyes are getting in the way of him and his food. Notes. I lost my sweet girl to the Rainbow Bridge last week. This was inspired by her. Juicy, meaty, thick. Dean loved women, and women loved him, but no woman in the world could ever compare to the 2 layers of beef, barbecue sauce, and double bacon on the cheeseburger he now sunk his teeth into. He groaned at that first bite, closing his eyes to the sun's warmth on his cheeks and the halo it made on the sesame seed bun he held in his grip, chewing like every morsel was sacred and needed to be savored and worshipped. It was almost better than sex. Less messy, less sticky, less work to get to the satisfying part at the end, and he, fully clothed, Henley in jeans, his jacket and flannel draped over baby's sleek metal next to him, Zeppelin on the stereo. Nature, man, burger, Jimmy Page on guitar. Everything was right with the world. No monsters in sight. No ghouls, wolves, vamps. Even the angels had left him alone, leaving him with not a care in the world, until he took his second bite of succulent beef and melted cheese and saw a flash of white below his feet. Pure as snow, a dog, or a little rat the size of Toto, swept its front paw over his right boot, seated on the ground. With classic begging eyes under the longest eyelashes he'd ever seen on a canine and a wispy tail that curled back over its spine, the furball had the gall to yip at the end of its whiny growl, as if demanding his attention or his burger. He wasn't sure. "Can I help you?" Dean said over the golden bun. "If you're hungry, ask those dicks for a bone or something. This is human food." He shooed it with his other boot. While the little dog took a step back, it also trotted around him, daring to put its paws up on the base of baby's grill. "Seriously?" Dean grumbled, brows knotted together. If only he could still speak dog. "Paws off. I just washed her." He leant over to swipe at its legs. "You're not even a real mutt," he said when it landed on all fours again. "What are you, a poodle?" Of course he didn't know what it was. He didn't even care. He just wanted to be left alone in his little slice of heaven. The open road, the perfect meal. What was peace beneath the clear blue sky until the thing yipped in response? "Would you quit it?" he said, standing up in a power move to tower over it some more. "What do you want from me, huh? This has got extra onions. Doubt they're good for you anywhere." Dean rolled his eyes when the furball yipped at him again. He'd admit the little guy was cute, but the last thing he needed was a new pair of sad eyes staring at him all day long. This was supposed to be heaven, and he'd rather Sammy. So he stomped his foot and leered at the thing, adding his best growl and a deep, "Get out of here," hoping to scare it off before he traipsed back to the driver's seat, triumphant at winning over a tiny dog. Only when he collected his things off the hood and did just that, a blur of white fuzz slipped through his legs, beating him to the vinyl bench. Spinning on the spot and sitting smack bang in the middle, it looked right at him with a crooked gaze. "Really? Was the attitude necessary?" It yipped again. "Right. What do you want from me besides the burger, huh? Did I screw over your owner in another life?" He hovered his arm in front of its nose, waving it, slow motion as its beady brown eyes followed the burger in his hand. "Yeah, you're dreaming." He placed the burger on the dash, scooped the dog up, checked what he was dealing with, and dumped her back on the ground. "Not Sharon. even with a cute chick. Was she cute, though? Cute in the way a 12-year-old girl might fawn and play tea parties with her over, maybe? It didn't make a difference to Dean, though. The mutt was a pain in his ass. He dusted his hands and relaxed back into the seat, reaching for the burger before grabbing the door handle. Of course, he took too long. Of course, the little bitch slipped through the crack. She was persistent as she was ballsy, moving to his lap this time, paws going straight for his arm, cranking her neck for the cheeseburger inches from her grasp. Damn lap dogs. Her back legs were a little too close to his junk and inching closer and closer with each new stretch. He looked her square in the face when she turned to him. "Don't you dare." She whined, pleaded. Her pink, wet tongue licked her doggy lips. "Your owner spoiled you or something? This isn't dog food. Go." He raised both arms in the air, swiping his chin to the left in the gap of earth below baby's sleek metal. "Find your family. You gotta have a grandparent or something up here. Don't owners like yours class you as their kid? Go watch over your douchebag, sweetheart." She growled at that, though her eyes kept watching his hand and the burger in it. His other hand, finding its way just behind her floppy ear, scratched into the soft fur. There wasn't any meat on her bones. "You're just overcompensating with the fluff, huh? Big bush energy. Nothing wrong with that." He smirked to himself. "If I give you a piece of this, will you get lost?" Dean said, releasing her to pull a chunk of beef from the patty. Like she understood, the dog responded by sitting her butt down on his thigh, watching, waiting, her tail no longer curled over her spine, but swaying over his jeans as he brought the piece closer to her mouth. "Good girl," he said when she took it, giving her an extra pat on the head. "You gonna get out of here now? I don't let dogs ride shotgun." She licked his hand. No, don't give me the tongue." He grimaced, shaking his wrist much too hard for the amount of slobber she'd left behind. "None. You got your piece. The rest is mine." Dean reached over her and pushed the heavy door further open. The creak, not even part of the dog's peripheral. "Go on." He nudged her on her bony chest, noticing the lack of a collar. Her fur had seen more product than his hair had in its lifetime. "I ain't driving Miss Daisy around. Not till hell freezes over and those..." "What?" The dog barked this time. No yip, no growl, a kind of whine, teed with a proper bark, even if it was just as high in pitch as all the other noises she'd made. Her tail wagged too, up in the air. Now up on all fours, she pranced on his lap, once again dangerously close to... Ugh. She jumped up, tongue on his chin. It lapped at his stubble, scraping it this way and that, coating his chin in a sheen of wet. Her breath smelt. Her paws dug into his chest. He had to put the burger down on the bench beside his thigh so he could grab her and haul her up and away before she caused damage to his sack. Just because he was in heaven now didn't mean it might not come in handy. Pamela was always up for some action, and there were plenty of others who wanted a piece of him. "There's a line," he said to her nose. His lips pursed, cheeks puffy. "What's it going to take for you to leave me alone? You want your own burger? No onions? Fine." If that's all it took to get the needy thing off his case, he wasn't sure why he hadn't thought of it earlier. Dean concentrated, eyes closed, whipping up the same burger in his mind, without the extra onions. With his palm out, he felt the weight of the smooth golden bun against his skin. "Here's your burger." He placed her and it on the passenger side, as far away from him and his as he could get while still in the Impala. She'd already been in there long enough for the hairs from her long tail to transfer onto his Henley. What were a few minutes of peace if he could finally finish his lukewarm meal? But as he sunk his teeth back into his now weeping onions and melted cheese, the picky eater beside him showed her true colors, nudging the top bun with her nose. He should have just asked for an extra patty if that's all it took. "So now you're fussy? Won't have too many carbs for you or something?" He flicked it off and watched as she licked at the cheese. "For the love of... Really? You just wanted some dairy. What the hell kind of dog are you? Though as he watched her more, devouring every inch of the sticky slice, he grinned to himself. The burger was nothing without it. Not afraid of a little trimming around the edges, are you? Just more to hold on to besides the fur? He chuckled, his hand moving back behind her ear. Any Fido who tells you otherwise is a douchebag. He scratched her some more, eyes soon wavering between his burger and the little dog. It had been a while since he'd had any company, and she was already in the passenger seat. If he could make an exception for Miracle, he could let the mutt ride shotgun a little longer, right? Hey, you want to tag along with me for a bit? He waited for a growl, but even if she understood him, she was too busy with the cheese to care. Yeah, you do, he said, convincing himself through a twitch of his eye. But there was no way he was letting a lack of response burst his ego. In some ways, she'd be the perfect passenger, almost better than Sam. A great taste in food, she couldn't complain about the music. The only downsides were the fur on the upholstery and the smell, but as long as she kept her cake hole shut when she wasn't eating, they'd get along great, just like the beef and cheese. He was the beef,